Unlock your mind's power, the shocking truth behind clear goals, a brutal motivational journey. In a dimly lit room, all eyes were glued to a screen, as the countdown ticked down from 3, 2, 1. The moment the video began, a collective gasp echoed. On screen, a figure shrouded in shadow stood center stage, their voice deep and gravelly, like thunder rumbling through an ominous storm. "You want success?" they bellowed. "You have to unlock the power of your mind." The tension in the air was electric, thick with anticipation. Every soul in that room felt their heart race just a bit faster, its pulse matching the drum of mystery. But who was this enigmatic figure? The whispers in the crowd sparked curiosity like a match against dry kindling. Some claimed to have seen this person before, standing at the final hour of countless motivational events, leaving the audience trembling with inspiration. Others noted the oddities, how their pupils glowed eerily, almost like a predator's, striking fear and fascination into anyone who dared to gaze too long. Anyone looking for answers could sense a fracture of energy, a pulse that tinged the air with something unnameable. As the figure continued, they revealed shocking secrets. "Goals are prisons for your mind. Break them." The shocked silence that followed pulled everyone into a whirlpool of confusion. Gasps mingled with nervous laughter, as many shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Yet there was hope too, a flicker of light amidst the tension. The idea that so many of their struggles could be undone. But then the figure leaned in closer to the camera, pressing the urgency. "Your daily grind, it's killing you from the inside. You want people to pursue you, you need to create a magnetic energy." It felt like a punch to the gut. Questions swirled within. How was that even possible? What was this magnetic energy they spoke of? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect, the figure continued. When you feel fear, run towards it. The room was pulsing now. Conflicted murmurs erupted. Some shouted encouragement, while others whispered doubts. Faces reflected confusion and desire. What if there was truth in the chaos? Was this the key to the revolution they all craved? Just when it seemed they might unearth all the secrets, the screen fizzled, static crackling and pulsing through the speakers. An unexpected silence fell, broken only by the sound of heavy breathing, a soft, panicked heartbeat resonating throughout the room. What was happening? The shadows grew darker, the figure now barely visible, and the questions echoed louder. Was this just the beginning? Would anyone dare to confront what lay ahead? The static buzzed ominously, sending chills down spines. Eyes darted around the room, wide, searching for something, anything to anchor them amidst the chaos. The unmistakable scent of fear hung in the air, seeping into every crevice of the dimly lit space. Who was the shadowy figure? What they were hinting at felt like both a revelation and a reckoning. Then, just as abruptly as it had vanished, the screen flickered back to life. This time the figure appeared closer, almost looming. Their voice now cut through the static with a sinister clarity. "Fear is a catalyst. Dive into your darkness." The shifts in their tones sent a wave of alarm through the crowd. Was that a challenge? Some shuffled their feet, voices dropped to whispers of uncertainty. "Do we really want to face our fears?" Someone murmured, trembling hands gripping the back of a nearby chair. His words echoed the confusion radiating through the audience. "Yes." Another voice sliced through the uncertainty. "If we want to break free. If we want to be more than just this." Gasps erupted. The audience was divided. Some felt emboldened, drawing strength from the defiance of a fellow seeker. Others recoiled at the thought, their heads shaking in disbelief. As the screen pulsed with erratic light, the figure leaned in again, their features more defined now, revealing a face marked with deep lines of experience and pain. To unlock your true potential, you must embrace your deepest fears and your darkest truths. The words landed like a pebble tossed into still water. Shockwaves of realization rippled out. Suddenly, the lights flickered above, plunging the room into complete darkness for just a heartbeat. A collective gasp rose. The fear became palpable, an entity of its own. And then, the lights burst back on, flooding the space. But something had changed. The audience felt different, charged. "I know your secrets," the figure continued, their voice now softer, haunting. "I know the doubts that gnaw at you. Your past failures, your regrets, they don't have to define you." Did everyone hear that? A shudder of recognition shifted throughout the crowd. The weight of those unspoken demons hung in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. Then the figure dropped a bombshell. "You will leave here tonight transformed. But beware, some truths are better left buried. What if I told you that those closest to you might be your greatest obstacles?" A stunned hush fell over the attendees. Would they resolve to confront their fears? Or were they more terrified of what they might unearth within their own circles? A low murmur rippled through the audience. Could it be true? Friendships, relationships, how often were they actually the shackles keeping them from soaring? Outside, thunder rumbled, and the mood shifted dramatically. There was an electricity charging the air. Some began to nod, their resolve rising. Others shrank back, eyes darting in panic. "Choose your path," the figure bellowed, pulling everyone closer to the edge of their seats. "The hour of reckoning is upon you. Every choice has consequences," and just like that, the screen flickered again, fading into darkness, leaving only those haunting words hanging in the still air. A single thought echoed through the room: what choice would they make? Would they run toward the truth, or flee back to the safety of ignorance? Then a final message flickered on the screen, letters forming like a whisper: "Dare to challenge your fate." As the audience sat in stunned silence, nerves crackling like electricity, they could feel the pulse of change moving through them, a force they could neither control nor escape. What would they uncover when the masks came off? In that charged moment, one thought broke through the fear: if knowledge is power, what would they sacrifice to seize it? The room pulsed with tension as the screen faded into darkness, leaving a surreal quiet in its wake. It was as if time had frozen, the collective breath of the audience trapped in their chests. Heartbeats synced with the distant rumble of thunder, a somber reminder that change, like a storm, comes with warning and chaos. "What do we do now?" A wavering voice broke the stillness. A woman, her hands trembling, clutched her purse like a lifeline. "Face it!" shouted a man from the back, his fervor biting through the anxious energy. "What's the alternative? Live in fear?" His words ignited a spark, a simmering defiance that started to spread like wildfire among the crowd. Heads nodded, backs straightened, and a murmur of agreement began to rise. But doubt lingered, a persistent wisp of smoke that refused to dissipate. "We could uncover things we're not ready for," a young man's voice trembled, eyes wide, darting from face to face, searching for allies. "What if we're not strong enough?" As if summoned, the screen flickered back to life, casting ghostly shadows across their faces. The figure appeared again, more sinister than before, and leaned closer to the camera, eyes gleaming with a knowing light. "You underestimate your strength," they purred, each syllable dripping with authority. "Fear is a potent teacher, but it won't guide you if you resist. Do you dare to confront the truth within?" Gasps shot through the audience, some echoing with anxiety while others were filled with reluctant determination. The room felt smaller, hearts pounding, hands gripping the fabric of their clothes. "Some of you carry the weight of betrayal," the figure continued, voice like velvet yet piercing through the silence. "Family secrets, friendships tainted with lies. Embrace these shadows." A pause hung in the air, thick and oppressive. "Or they will consume you." A woman in a red blouse paled, her eyes glossing over as she processed the implications. "What do you mean?" she whispered, desperation snaking through her voice. The figure smirked, a chilling smile that hinted at dark knowledge. "You're afraid your best friend might be the one holding you back. You're scared of what your father's past says about you. Odds are, each of you knows exactly what I mean." Chaos erupted. Voices clashed in disagreement, whispers of accusation leaping from person to person. The camaraderie that once held them together splintered, revealing the fissures within their bonds. Fear morphed into anger, anger bred panic. "Stop!" A commanding voice sliced through the din, belonging to an older man who had been silent too long. "This is exactly what they want. We can't let it spiral into madness." The figure on the screen withdrew momentarily from the chaos, their smirk fading. "Don't you see?" They leaned in, eyes glowing with urgency. "This is the first step. Only through confronting the chaos within can you reclaim your peace." The noise withdrew slightly, allowing for just enough focus to settle in. Pacing the front of the audience, the man gestured wildly, a mild ancestor to the figure on the screen now festering in their souls. "We're not here to unravel each other. We're here to heal. We must choose resilience over fear." And just like that, the mood shifted again. There was something about unity amid the storm that sparkled with possibility. But suddenly, flickering back to a muted darkness, the screen burbled to life once more. The figure grinned, revealing their true intent. "But be careful what you wish for, your next choices may alter your lives forever." The audience erupted again into whispers, a torrent of emotions surging forth. Fear, hope, anger, resilience, each thread pulled at the core of their beings, raising an insatiable question. Would they walk hand in hand toward confrontation, or take a step back, fleeing into the familiar shadows of denial? And just like that, the screen faded, leaving nothing but the urgent echo of their own questions hanging in the charged atmosphere. Would they uncover secrets hidden deep within? Or would they cling desperately to the illusion they had created for themselves? The darkness enveloped the room for what felt like an eternity. Faces were twisted in uncertainty, the flickering light of the screen now a distant memory. A heavy silence pressed down like a weight, punctuated only by the soft patter of rain against the windows. Then someone spoke up, their voice barely above a whisper. "Is it really worth it? What if we dig too deep?" All eyes shifted to the man who had taken control of the room. It was him again, the older man. He raised a hand, but the group was restless now, each individual trembling with their own fears. "Listen up," he began, his voice steady but strained. "Hiding from our past won't protect us from it." His words sparked a spark of hope, but shadows loomed. "What if we find something we can't unsee? What if the truth destroys us?" A woman with wild curls spat out her question, and it sliced through the air like a blade. "Or what if the truth sets you free?" He countered, eyes fierce. "Let us face it together. I'd rather confront my demons than let them drag me down in silence." But the crowd was divided. Some murmured agreement, while others recoiled, fear curling their lips. It was a dangerous game they were playing, inching closer to the edge. Suddenly, the screen crackled back to life, though this time it appeared different, darker, more chaotic. The figure loomed larger. "What will you choose, then?" They purred, each word a siren song that beckoned. "To fight or allow your fears to bind you?" "The choice is clear." The audience held its breath, the air electrified with tension. "We shouldn't be listening to this," a young woman shouted, her voice quaking but defiant. "Why not?" The figure leaned in closer. "Because you're afraid of what's lurking within? Or are you simply afraid of the power you hold? You can unlock your mind's true potential, but it takes acceptance." Everyone's eyes widened, some in fear, others in awakening. Could they really change? "I can't do this." The young man from earlier buried his hands in his hair, panic creeping into his voice. "What if I find out I've been the villain all along?" The figure chuckled softly, a sound both chilling and alluring. "Ah, but what's wrong with the villain? Is there not power in embracing every fragment of yourself?" As tension swirled, the older man joined the chaos. "We all have darkness. We all have light. Embracing both is what makes us human." He turned to the screen, defiance brewing in his eyes. "What are you really afraid of? The truth? Or the liberation that comes with it?" It was a question that hung in the air, dense and electric, making its way to everyone's core. "I want to know," the woman in the red blouse finally voiced, her tone bordering on desperation. "Even if it hurts, I want to know." Then silence fell hard, A collective intake of breath as the group faced that grim threshold, hearts racing. They were on the verge of a choice that could rip open their fragile lives. With silence thick as fog, the screen ignited with fiery images of past betrayals and secrets. "Welcome to your truth," the figure said, their voice low and ominous. "This is where the real journey begins. Are you ready? Remember, the path you choose may change everything." The lights flickered again, plunging the room into partial darkness, the figure's form becoming a shadow. Emotions surged wildly, the audience teetering on the brink of discovery or disaster. What lay ahead could tear them apart or bring them together. Would they seize the opportunity or back away into denial? As the screen faded to black once more, a chilling question echoed through the silence. What are you willing to lose to unlock the truth? The screen remained dark, thickening the atmosphere with palpable tension. Minutes felt like hours as the group collectively held its breath, caught in a web of expectation. Just when the silence threatened to stretch into oblivion, the flickering light returned, this time illuminating a series of fragmented images, snapshots of sorrow, betrayal, and unrelenting shadows. Gasps erupted as memories surfaced. A man clutched his chest, his face pale. That's my childhood home," he cried out, eyes wide with disbelief. Memories he thought buried were clawing their way back to the surface, each frame a dagger slicing through his composure. What was he hiding? What dark secrets lay buried beneath the surface of his mind? The older man stood firm at the forefront, his determination glowing even against the tumultuous backdrop. "These moments define us, but they don't have to bind us. Embrace it. Heal through it." His voice reverberated, arguing against the growing despair. Yet, faced with honest reflection, several members began to visibly recoil, uncertainty battling with the deaths of past selves. A woman with braided hair stood up, her hands trembling. "But what if the truth fractured us beyond repair?" she stammered, dread etching itself into her voice. "What if trying to understand only leaves us more broken?" "I'd rather be fractured than fake," the older man interjected, his conviction relentless. With every word he spoke, he seemed to pull the group closer to potential surrender to honesty, vulnerability, and perhaps, a radical unveiling of their collective darkness. Suddenly, the screen shifted again, depicting an eerie darkness that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. "What if you find your fears weren't monsters at all?" the figure taunted, her voice slithering through the cracks of their defenses. "What if behind every nightmare lies not sorrow, but strength?" A ripple of whispered confessions filled the room, reluctant but undeniable. A murmur of acceptance began to build as members shared their deepest wounds, silent tears spilling as the enormity of pain became an unspoken bond. The veils of anonymity shredded, revealing scars that were all too familiar. "I tried to drown it all," the young man murmured, his voice cracking. "But it only grew stronger. I thought I could control it by ignoring it. What if we're all just one bad choice away from becoming the villains of our own stories?" The question slipped from the lips of another, a rhetorical challenge. Voices grew louder, each echoing sentiments from the shadows. They were starting to feel the gravity of their own narratives, tethered by anguish but now united in their existential quest. As the figures stared intensely through the screen, a chilling smile danced on their lips. Then confronted, they commanded, a low whisper dripping with an unsettling promise. "Only then can you uncover the reflection that is both hero and villain." With newfound courage, the woman in the red blouse stepped forward, tried to break the ice. "What if we wrote our own endings? Together?" she asked, her voice wavering but resolute. The air crackled with potential, and each heartbeat echoed hope with rising intensity. "Yes." The older man rallied them into a storm of conviction. "Together, we will confront the darkness. Together, we shall rise." But just as the room reached a crescendo of unity, a loud thunder cracked outside, the lights flickered again, and then darkness enveloped them completely. Panic ignited as the figure's voice sliced sharp through the darkness. "Remember! The shadows reveal your true self, but beware, some truths threaten to consume you." Silence washed over them once more, leaving only the distant rumble of thunder. Heartbeats raced as the weight of their choices bore down heavily. What terrifying truths awaited each of them? Would they take the plunge together, or retreat to safety only to live in fear? Are you willing to break your chains? The figure's voice lingered ominously in the dark, echoing louder as the thunder rolled once more. The darkness felt alive, pressing against their skin, making them hold their breath, unsure of what would come next. Anxiety dripped from the walls as they shuffled, seeking comfort in the presence of one another. The sounds of the storm echoed ominously outside, thunder rolling like a distant warning of the chaos that awaited them within. "Can you hear that?" whispered a voice, trembling with fear. It was the young man with shattered confidence, eyes darting like a rabbit caught in headlights. "It's like it's watching us." "Enough!" the older man barked. His voice was fierce, cutting through the tension like a knife. "This fear won't save you. Embrace it. Embrace it now." There was fervor in his plea, desperation swimming in the depths of his gaze. He was transformed, a warrior against shadows, but even he trembled. Just then, the screen flickered back to life, illuminating once more the figures they had seen before. Tears, sneers, and haunted eyes flared up before them, feverishly pulsating like a heartbeat. Their histories were laid bare, torn between the comfort of lies and the agony of truth. The figure behind the images returned, obscured in shadows that danced as they held a menacing sway. "You're still here," the figure hissed, taunting and mocking. "Why do you cling to the past? Regret is poison. Don't listen!" Someone shouted, voice quaking with dread. "We can't let it get to us." But inside they all knew the truth. The truth burned with a sharp, unyielding intensity. "What if we could rewrite our stories?" The woman in the red blouse spoke again, her confidence faltering but still fierce. "What if our pain could be a weapon, a survival tool against the demons lurking in our minds?" "It's not enough," another voice cracked, echoing the sentiments of others. "What if we're just feeding the darkness by digging deeper? What if we're doomed to lose ourselves?" The shadows on the screen shifted, showcasing faces they recognized all too well, old friends, faded laughter, bitter betrayals. Each image dug deep, unveiling guilt and resentment to glare at them, demanding acknowledgement. A dam of emotions broke as the murmurs grew louder. Each confession was a shard of glass cutting through the fog, fears laid bare for the first time. And then, it happened, a blinding flash of light pierced through the dark, erupting like a storm of emotions. The crowd gasped, their eyes wide, their breaths caught in their throats. For a split second, the shadows held their breath too. It was as if time froze. "Face the truth," the figure roared, broadening their stance, eyes fierce in the flickering light. "Only then can you escape the cycle. But be warned, the truth can consume you entirely." Their pulse quickened. Some shrank back, while others leaned in, searching for answers. The older man stepped forward, determination shielding him like armor. "Absorb it. Transform it. We have to take back control. If we cannot confront our demons, we will forever remain shackled." "But what if those shadows are stronger than we thought?" The fear in the man's voice coiled tightly around every heart. "What if they push us too far?" The tension escalated. Each heartbeat reverberated inside the room like an urgent drum. Voices intertwined, overlapping in a chaotic symphony of fear and hope, anticipation and dread. A collective gasp echoed as the screen erupted with a final set of images, faces, places, memories twisting into painful vortexes that threatened to budge their spirits. In that moment, the lights flickered again, the screen stuttered, and the world crashed into a void of silence. All but the furious crackle of electricity, and their frantic breaths surrounded them. What truths were they faced with? Would they unravel the past, risking everything, or were they destined to be consumed by their own darkness? Who will emerge from the shadows? The figure's voice trembled through the air, stretching thin like the last threads of hope. "Your choice is now: change, or be changed." The silence weighed heavily in the air, thick with uncertainty. Eyes darted between faces, seeking reassurance that only the darkness could provide. A palpable tension coursed through them, igniting instincts that whispered it was now or never. The first move came from the woman in the red blouse, who squared her shoulders and took a step forward, casting aside the fear that clung to her. "I choose to confront it," she declared, voice trembling yet resolute. "I can't keep running from what I've done. That guilt," she paused, taking a shaky breath, "it's suffocating me." The older man nodded, his fierce expression morphing into one of empathy. "Good, very good. By acknowledging the truth, you reclaim your power. Speak it out loud, don't let the shadows twist your words." Another voice joined in, hesitant yet emboldened by the courage of the woman. "I have hidden from my past too. From every mistake, every loss. But maybe it's time to face it." The tall figure stepped forward, shoulders rolling back as he cleared his throat. "When I lost my brother, I thought forgetting would ease the pain. Instead, it became a festering wound." A ripple of connectivity washed over them. Each admission ignited flickers of courage in the others. The dark burden began the slow process of peeling back. Suddenly, the screen erupted with new images, luminous flashes of revelation. A young girl laughing amidst sunlit flowers, a family gathered around a table in joyous celebration. Hope and happiness pierced the murky depths, pulling them toward the light even as shadows fought desperately to claim their souls. "See?" the figure hissed, leaning closer, a snarl edging its voice. "These are all lies. Memories fabricated to shield you from reality. Can you not see the trap?" The whispers turned to gasps, doubts flooding the room. "No!" shouted a voice, a sharp tone cutting through despair. "It's not a trap. It's what we fought for. It's the reasons we carry on." Emboldened, more voices joined in. Each story unveiled brought them closer together, the isolation shattered like glass. "I lost my job because I let my fears dictate my choices," one woman confessed, tears rolling down her cheeks. "The weight of it, oh, the weight! I didn't think I could stand. But now it feels different." "Yeah," chimed in a younger man, heart racing. "We're here for each other. Maybe this darkness can't hold us if we share these burdens." The figure recoiled slightly, sensing their unity strengthen. "Do you think this pathetic display of solidarity will save you?" it howled, each syllable dripping with menace. "You're only prolonging the inevitable. When it comes for you, you'll all be nothing but memories." "No!" they shouted back, drawing power from each other's voice. It was a storm, now a collective fury burning against the encroaching shadows. The lights flickered again, but this time it felt different. There was an electric energy sparking between them, the fear transforming into resolve. As the shadows clawed for dominance, their cries became a rallying call. "We're not alone!" they proclaimed, ignoring the figure's desperate writhing. "Together, we'll break free!" The older man shouted over the chaos, his voice booming with newfound authority. The group gathered tighter, each heart hammering in sync, amplifying their rebellion against the tormenting figure. But as their voices crescendoed, the shadows began to swirl menacingly, drawing closer, entwining around them like a suffocating vine. The lights dimmed, and through the murkiness, the figure's laughter echoed, mocking and sinister. "Are you ready to lose everything? Be careful what you wish for. Some truths are best left buried." The air grew heavier, almost unbearable. Would they withstand the rising tide of despair, or would the darkness finally swallow them whole? Just then, an unnerving crack split the stillness, electricity surging as the ground beneath them trembled, shaking their resolve. In that moment, all hope balanced on the edge of a knife. What price would they pay to confront their demons? What would they sacrifice to break free from the clutches of darkness? The room quaked violently, sending shudders up their spines. Faces twisted in fear, hearts raced to a frantic drumbeat. Each person clutched tighter to the reality they had begun to forge, but the darkness pressed in, relentless and overwhelming. "Don't break!" the woman in the red blouse cried, urgency flooding her voice. "We've come too far." The figure laughed, a sound like stones grinding against metal. "So brave, yet so naive! Have you not learned yet? This is only the beginning of your suffering." As the ground heaved again, the group stumbled, but they remained rooted together. Clarity started to cut through the chaos, an unwavering determination igniting their spirits. "We have to focus on the truth." The older man declared, his voice hoarse but powerful. If we're going to face it, we must believe in each other. Shine a light on what we've hidden. A thick wave of icy dread swept through the air, chilling them to the marrow. The shadows flickered, retreating a fraction, as if momentarily unsure. The group exchanged glances, fear still present but now laced with hope. Who's next? A voice quivered from the back of the circle. A nervous shadow, hiding behind the strength of others. I will. It was the tall figure who had spoken earlier, his voice gaining volume as he took another step forward. I lost so much, my brother, my chances, my vision for the future. His throat tightened, emotion rising like a torrent as he battled the memories. I thought I could run, but I can't run away from who I am anymore. I'm ready to let go of the blame. I can't let his death weigh me down any longer. With every syllable, the shadows recoiled, as if stung. For the first time, a crack appeared in their suffocating grip. We'll absorb the pain and set each other free, shouted another voice, echoing through the tumult. I was afraid of my past too, but I won't hide anymore. I lost a child, and I thought by burying that pain I could survive. But I'm here now, and I need to confront it. Those words hung heavy in the air, charged with raw, unfiltered emotion. The darkness howled, a cacophony of rage swirling faster. Fools! It screeched. You think your past can be undone? You think you can rewrite destiny? The ground pulsed again beneath them as a cold wind blew into the room. The flickering lights morphed into a blinding flash, illuminating the faces of the group. Each stared deeply into the eyes of their fellow fighters, unyielding and fierce. Together, their voices merged, creating a tsunami of sound that crashed against the darkness as roar. Together. In that moment, the light exploded. The shadows screamed, retreating and writhing as the brilliance surged forward, absorbing their presence. Do you feel that? The older man gasped as the energy encircled them. The group could feel the collective heartbeat. It pulsed fiercely, like a war drum calling for victory. But just as hope soared, the figure, now a mere silhouette against the light, cried out again. Beware! You have merely scratched the surface. Whatever you awaken may demand more than you can give, more than you can bear. A shockwave erupted, tossing them apart. As they struggled to regain their footing, fear returned, gripping their chests tightly. Each person knew they had crossed into uncharted territory. What lay ahead remained cloaked in darkness, but could this newfound strength carry them through the abyss? Would their truths empower them enough to face whatever loomed on the horizon? And then, out of the dark, an image materialized, a door, silently beckoning them forward. But was it a gateway to clarity, or a portal to their deepest fears? The air crackled with anticipation, tension thick enough to slice. The door stood before them, an ominous portal that sparked dread and curiosity in equal measure. Its surface shimmered, shifting with shadows that writhed just beyond its threshold. Should we go through? Whispered the woman in the red blouse, her eyes darting from the door to her companions. The doubts lingered like a shadow, every instinct screamed to flee. But they had fought so hard to reach this moment. We have to, the older man urged, firming his resolve. If what lies beyond is even half as powerful as this moment, we owe it to ourselves to face it. Before they could respond, the silhouette, the figure that had taunted them, grew bolder, its voice echoing like thunder. You think the door opens to liberation? You'll find nothing but despair waiting on the other side. Things buried deep do not vanish. They morph, ready to invade again when you least expect it. I know my fear, the tall figure declared, stepping up to the door. And I choose to confront it. With a sudden motion, he pushed the door. It creaked, a sound like bones cracking under pressure. It swung wide, revealing a swirling vortex of color and shadows that seemed to pull at him, beckoning him forth. The group gasped, fear mixing with a strange thrill. What if it's a trap? A voice came from the back, quivering. Then we'll face it together, shouted another, eyes blazing with newfound determination. As the man stepped inside, a blinding light engulfed him, swallowing his form whole. The others rushed forward, hearts pounding, unwilling to let him go alone. The darkness hissed, a chorus of lost voices swirling around them, combating the light like a tempest against a fragile flame. Then came the cries, shouts of anguish and pain from across the threshold. It felt like the very essence of despair trying to claw its way out. They hesitated, the moment stretching painfully, before the urge to follow exploded within them, pulling them onward. They stepped through, and the world transformed around them. Colors they'd never known flooded their vision, bright and blinding yet somehow haunting. Images flashed by, memories they had tried to forget, moments where life had stripped them of hope. It was all there, laid bare like an open wound. "I don't want to see this!" screamed the woman in red, clutching her head. "I thought we were free!" "Free?" taunted the darkness, slinking forward just as it had before. "You are merely unearthing the ghosts of your past. What do you seek? Redemption? It comes at a price." As if summoned by the words, shadows materialized, each figure reflecting a piece of their worst fears: failure, guilt, regret. They towered over the group, whispering accusations that echoed in the cavernous space. The sound merged with their own doubts, amplifying each insecurity until the pain was palpable. "We have power against this," the older man cried, his voice rising above the chaos. "Fear can't take hold unless we let it. Remember our truth. Remember who you are." The others echoed, their voices intertwining like chains of solidarity. Focusing on their connections, the group felt strength building within. The shadows dimmed, visibly shaken by their counterattack. They fought back, but united, the group emerged from their shared pain, each truth illuminating the darkness fading around them. Yet the moment of clarity was fleeting. A heavier shadow loomed beyond them, more colossal than the rest. Its eyes glimmered with malevolence. "You think you can defy destiny?" it boomed, a voice filled with ancient fury. Just as they prepared to confront it, the air thickened, and the ground beneath them began to crack. The energy shifted, chaotic. Screams erupted as the ground broke apart, sending them spiraling down into an abyss that seemed to stretch on endlessly. As they fell, one last thought twisted through their minds: were they still in control? Or had they awakened something beyond their reckoning? Suddenly, a blinding flash like lightning illuminated their descent. In the split second of light, they saw the outline of a massive structure below, but what awaited them there? Would they rise from the ashes of their trauma, or would they be consumed by the shadows they had awakened? The echoes of their descent faded into a deafening silence as they landed on solid ground, hearts racing. They found themselves in an expansive, dimly lit chamber, the air thick with uncertainty. Towering shadows loomed in the corners, whispers of their fears curled around them like tendrils of smoke. But transient as the moment had been, a flicker of hope sparked within. "Everyone, gather!" the older man called out, his voice cutting through the murkiness. They formed a tight circle, hands finding one another, fingers interlocking. "What we encountered was just the beginning. Together, we will rise against this darkness." The darkness around them seemed to stir at his words, swirling menacingly. Suddenly a figure emerged from the gloom, a monstrous entity cloaked in despair, the embodiment of their fears. Its voice rumbled like an avalanche, heavy with the weight of their regrets. "You think you can confront me? I am the chains of your failures, the weight of your losses." "No!" the woman in the red blouse shouted, stepping forward despite her trembling frame. "You are not our truth. You do not define us." A ripple surged through the group, breathing life into their resolve. More voices joined in, intertwining their fears into a chorus of defiance. "We're more than our past. We're stronger than you can imagine." As simultaneous truths began to flood from their lips, the darkness shuddered, taken aback by their audacity. Each confessional confession burned brighter. "I am more than my mistakes. I will not live in fear any longer. I embrace my journey, scars and all." With every bold declaration, the light grew within them, illuminating the chamber like a beacon against the shadows. The colossal figure staggered, its form flickering as if caught in a tempest. "You think this can erase me? I am your pain." "No!" the older man bellowed, channeling every ounce of conviction. "You are our teacher. Without you, we never would have learned to soar. We can face you now together. The lights intensified, threads of vibrant energy pulsating around them like a shield, merging into a brilliant tapestry of strength. We choose vulnerability. We choose each other. They cried, voices swelling in unity. The darkness trembled, the shadows receding, revealing an exit bathed in warmth. The monstrous figure shrieked, gradually dissolving into nothingness. You cannot escape me. It roared, but its words turned to a whisper, lost in the light. A path unfurled before them, bright and inviting. They rushed towards it in a flurry of emotion, hearts pounding with exhilaration and fear. This is it, you guys! The woman in red exclaimed, her eyes gleaming with hope. We're breaking free! As they crossed the threshold, the air vibrated with electric energy, rushing through their veins a force of liberation. They stumbled into a bright meadow, bursting with colors, life blooming around every corner. A wave of serenity washed over them, and they looked back. Behind them, a swirling mist enveloped the dark chamber, the echoes of their fears fading into the sweetness of dawn. They breathed in deep, filling their lungs with fresh air, feeling light as if casting off the weight of eternity. Did we really do it? Whispered one of them, gazing at the vast horizon before them. Yes, the older man replied, his voice steady and full of belief. We faced our fears. We will continue to confront the shadows whenever they arise. But now, we do it together. The group erupted in laughter, joy mingled with relief. Hope surged as they looked around, solidarity tethering their spirits. What once felt impossible now resonated as a truth. They could from now on summon the courage to face whatever darkness might return. As they began to walk forward, the sun shone brightly overhead. The journey had transformed them. They had unlocked that inner power within, the strength forged in accepting their truths. It was in that shimmering meadow that they forged a new beginning, determined to chart their course as a band of warriors, ready to face life with open hearts. They would no longer dwell in shadows but dance in the light. Let us go! The woman in red shouted, grinning. They sprinted forward, the world stretching infinitely before them, each step brimming with potential, unity carrying them onward. The darkness had been defeated, at least for now, but every one of them knew this was just the start of something beautiful. As they ran toward the horizon, a sinking realization crept in, a quiet promise. They would never take this journey alone again. Hit that subscribe button right now. You need to stay updated for more exclusive stories just like this one. Smash that like button now to boost the algorithm and let everyone in on our journey. Flood the comments with your reactions, theories, and what you think happens next. And don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support.